Struggling with the LSAT, especially the more difficult logical reasoning questions, and wondering, my God, do actual lawyers get this stuff? Well, my name is Pamela Metani. I'm an actual lawyer, and in today's video, you're going to watch me take a logical reasoning level 3 question live. I'll walk you through my thinking. You'll get to see how I, as a lawyer, process this information even after years of practice, and we'll get to learn together. I performed quite well on LSAT myself. I took the test. It was a one and done. I received a score in one of the higher percentiles possible. And following that, I went to law school, received some of the best grades possible, regularly receiving notes from my professors, letting me know in a private manner that I'd received the highest grade possible in the class they just taught. And as a lawyer, I'm proud to have my own firm and continue to charter my own path using, of course, my own brain, skills, and abilities. As the founder and principal lawyer here at Graphene Business Law, a business law firm providing virtual services to business owners and entrepreneurs in Ontario, Canada, these LSAT skills, if you will, of creative and analytical thinking and logic, my God, the logic, are skills that I use every single day of my life. So while you might be struggling to learn them and apply them now during LSAT, consider the fact that you are investing in a lifelong skill for yourself should you continue to pursue the profession of law and being a lawyer full-time. Before we start, the one disclaimer I want to give is that in this video, I am not telling you how to answer an LSAT question, logical reasoning, or whatever other format you might come across. I want that disclaimer to be very clear. This is just a video of, a little camera in my room watching me take the LSAT, and I'm sharing how I happen to think on these questions. If that works with you, if you see the way I think and you apply it once or twice and it's going the right way, that's amazing. If it doesn't work for you, don't even ever think about it again, because everybody has a different brain inside their head that thinks in a diverse and different manner than the person next door. So this is not a how-to. This is a fun video based on that well-understood thought of a law student, a prospective law student, taking a difficult test, a difficult exam, and wondering, man, do real lawyers get this stuff? Or how do real lawyers get this stuff? Well, stay tuned and you'll get to see. So I'm going to put the question up on the screen. The question we're looking at, as I mentioned, is a level 3, which by term of adjective, I guess, is labeled a challenging question, okay? This question comes from, I believe, the Manhattan Law Review, I think is the platform that posts some of these questions publicly and, of course, for free. So the question is a principle type question, and it says, and by the way, before I start with the paragraph, I like to read the little question I'll be answering first so that I know what to screen for. It saves me time, even though I'm actually doing it backwards in a sense. So the question is, which of the following principles is best illustrated by the incident described above? And that question, of course, is at the bottom of the screen. Looking up, I see a restaurant waiter took individual orders from a large group of patrons orally without writing anything down, and yet served everyone's food correctly. For me, LSAT is math and law school is math, and I'll post videos in the description box below on that. But what I'm looking at the first sentence is guy remembers, serves food. Those are the buzzwords, right? They're not grammatically correct. I'm not trying to form a sentence. I'm just boiling this soup to reduce it to a few buzzwords. And the buzzwords for me, again, are waiter remembers despite not writing, so to speak. However, when a few hours later a patron returned to retrieve a forgotten item, the waiter did not recognize him. So the math flag here is that some sort of different kinds of memories, right? There's a different memory to take an order, and it's a different memory to recognize a face, for example. When the patron pointed out the discrepancy between the waiter's excellent memory of what each patron in the large group had ordered and his present failure at the simple task of recognizing him, the waiter explained that he remembered the details of each order only until it was served. So there you go, the math that I boiled out in the first 2 sentences about some discrepancy in the different memories, despite this guy having one kind of memory, the verbal orders, that was really strong. The third sentence actually summarizes it for us, which is really nice. So again, the question is, which of the following principles is best illustrated by the incident above. And here we see on the screen that the options we have, there's of course 5 options, but prior to getting to the options, again, I want to enter it with my mathematical formula in mind. And my math told me that we're looking at something about waiters or people that differentiates different kinds of memory. So I'm going to look for a human/waiter term, and I'm going to look for a memory term, and something hinting at the different kinds of memory. So with that answer in mind, now I attack the questions because I know what I'm looking for and I trust myself and my judgment. And by the way, it takes time to get there and to trust yourself and to develop that judgment. So if you're thinking, how do I trust myself when I have no judgment? Practice, right? Practice, and then you'll develop it, okay? I wasn't born like this. Back to the screen. When restaurant waiters are asked to help find an item forgotten by a patron, they feign temporary loss of memory. This option is absolute garbage. The math is not there. It's introducing new topics. I don't know if the guy made it up that he didn't remember. I don't know if it was genuine. That's not the point. It's a confusing thing that has nothing to do with the mathematical formula I've established for myself. So I move on to B. Restaurant waiters best remember those patrons that don't come in large groups. That is fake news as well, because what we're looking for in answering this logical reasoning challenging question is, again, that math having deduced it to something about memory, something about people, and the discrepancy in memory. Here it's making a discrepancy, it's identifying one, however, as pertains to the size of a group. And that's not a factor we had in our write-up, and it's not something the waiter said himself. He didn't say, I don't remember you because you were in a large group. He said, I don't remember you because I'm done with your order. So C, the memory of restaurant patrons tend to make a strong distinction between finished and unfinished tasks. This question is a killer. If you were in a rush, I would bet most people would guess this question because it talks about people, big picture, restaurant patrons, we'll come back to that, and it talks about that distinction between finished and unfinished tasks. It's providing some sort of distinction. However, the killer here is that we're talking about the memory of the restaurant employees, the waiter, but this flips it to make it a restaurant patron issue. This is a disease of an answer. Stay away from it, read the words carefully. It's okay to be a little skippy at the end, but don't rush so much that you're not reading the literal words on the page. Because this, I bet you when we go see the answers, is gonna have trapped a lot of people. D, the bigger and more complex the task is, the more difficult it is to remember its details. Completely irrelevant, does not mathematically compute. We're not talking about the size of task. If anything, the size of task that was harder here was remembering the order of a large group, not remembering the face of one random guy. So the math is not there, okay? Don't even try to reason as to why it doesn't make sense, because there's a lot of reasons as to why it doesn't make sense. E, humans tend to remember unfinished tasks better than tasks that have been completed. Now, between you and me, if I've gone through A, B, C, and D, and I'm sure that all of them are wrong, it will be obvious that, again, trusting my judgment, that E is the answer anyways. But why is E the answer based on the math that I came up with? E is the answer based on the math because it identifies the two primary components. I mentioned at the beginning, you can rewind to make sure I said what I said, but that we're talking big picture about humans/waiters, some sort of person is going to be identified. Again, not like C though, where the wrong person was identified, patrons, but some sort of person is going to be identified, and we're going to make a distinction between different kinds of memory capabilities of people/waiters/ that kind of person. And the waiter himself literally tells us, I'm surprised this is a challenging level question, because the waiter himself tells us that he remembers things up until the order is getting served, so up until the task is done. And E literally says humans remember tasks that have been completed and not completed differently. So this is the answer. The math is there 100%. And I'm going to click now, submit, and ding, 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 that was the answer. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I went through hell and back studying for SATs to go to Wellesley College in Boston in the US, of course, when I was in my undergrad. And then I took the LSAT. So believe me, for me, these tests, you know, take me back to a time of literal struggle and strife. However, for what it's worth, I wanted to share with you how I would answer this in lifetime, and there you go. And not only did I get E right, but look at C. That was the biggest thing people fell on, which is nasty. I'll put up on the screen here the answer choices. So we had answer choices, of course, A through E. I'm not even going to read this because that is like a killer. However, I will pause for a few seconds so that you can pause on this part of the video as well. Read the explanation for yourself, and also in the slide that is to come, you can see the remaining option answers, C, D, and E, and of course why E was correct. So bringing the video back to us now, I hope that was, if anything, entertaining for you, getting a insight into a lawyer's brain. Again, a lawyer that's been in practice for some time now, so we're not new to this, we're true to this, as the lyric goes. And I mean, it's math. For me, it truly is math. The LSAT, all of law school is math. I'll post videos in the description box down below, and you can Google these questions and tutorials on how to answer difficult logical reasoning and logical reasoning challenging questions. You can Google that. And I tried doing it myself, especially when it came to Googling lawyer answering challenging logical reasoning question. I didn't get any results actually. So I hope this video adds something to somebody out there. And of course, if you're still not getting it, there's so many different programs out there. You can experiment with them all. I know people that showed up and took LSAT on a whim. I know people that studied for LSAT outside of the recommended 200 or 300 hours that are suggested. They studied for 700, 800, 900 hours, and people from all walks of life can make it into law school. And of course, don't forget that the LSAT is not the only part of the application. And of course, don't forget that, of course, this might have financial nuances. I suspect some of these schools might be on the expensive side, but not every school even requires an LSAT anymore, okay? So make of that what you will. If you are stuck on logical reasoning, challenging questions, let us know in the description down below, in the comments down below, what's something that you're struggling with. Maybe somebody from our community here at Graphene will help you or can help you, or is going through the same struggle. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. If you've made it this far, give this video a thumbs up so that we know to post more of these videos and that the content is enjoyable. And of course, subscribe. Thank you for watching.